a dear old friend who passed away in 2021, kept saying to me, how can you say you are educated and free if you don't know where your food comes from, if you're not producing your own food? The freedom to feed yourself, to be in control of your plate, to be in charge of your plate. When there's a crisis, you know you have food to eat, your family is fine because you have food to eat. There's no greater freedom than that. This thing just kept eating at me until, one moment I said, I need to go home. I need to go back home.
And home is where we all must return. But this home is not just the house we retreat to after a long day at work. No, home is origin. It is memory, it is purpose, it is the soul of who we are. To go home is to journey back to the heartbeat of African communities, to the time when history was not written in ink, but lived in songs, stories, and feasting. There was a time when sharing seeds was a celebration, as sacred and joyful as the harvest itself. No fear, no rates, no laws that say you cannot share seeds. Only trust, tradition, and the rhythm of seasons passed from one hand to the other. If Africa means the birthplace of the soul, and our cable and the mother of humanity, then our story did not begin with empty bowls and corporate charity. It did not begin with debates over genetically modified seeds. No, our story began with seed bearers who planted life not just in the earth, but in the future of humankind. We come from a lineage of those who sowed hope, who nurtured the land and each other so that all might eat and live and remember. And so we must return, not just to the land, but to the truth of who we have always been. We must go back home to learn, unlearn and relearn the ways of Africa's indigenous seeds.
Land is a problem in our community. The little land that we get, we try to make the best use of it. We go to our farms, you see us planting, we will be doing mixed cropping. A teacher is to impart knowledge, and I'm a teacher. The women came and asked for the help. Unless you teach them, they can never know. It inspires them to do the same thing. Whatever we are doing is for the benefit of our children and the comfort of our homes and the country as a whole.
Farmers have been researching, farmers have been working, and farmers have their own knowledge, they have their own systems. This has always guided their farming practices. And so to help them to move forward with what they do as farmers is to build on their existing knowledge, build on their capacities to be able to increase and amplify some of these things that are not known.
SECOD as an organization, our basic work, as I said, has always been to build on what farmers are already doing best. If development doesn't reflect the culture of the people, then it is no development. It's not sustainable development.
Climate change has become an issue. Environmental degradation has become an issue. So there's a clear link between number of trees on the farm and how it increases food productivity. One easy way to increase the tree cover on your land is use of the farmer-managed natural regeneration. It is cheap as compared to conventional tree planting. The farmer has the responsibility of managing the trees. So our role has been just to introduce the principles. The farmer's responsibility is to adapt that in a way that's best suit his system. We have an African saying that I am because we are. And everybody in the community can go ask any of them, hey, I want you to come and teach me how to do pruning on my farm. And they feel proud that they are delivering service to their community.
To the African people and to the indigenous peoples of the world, seeds are not merely the yield of a fruitful season, nor are they just the reward for tilling the soil with discipline and care. No, seeds are living stories. They are the heart and songs written from the past, each one a verse in the long poem of survival, a thread in the sacred fabric of memory. They carry the wisdom of generations, how we endure the hunger of famine, how we danced with the rains and wrestled with the droughts, how we stood firm when floods came or when crops withered under the unseen diseases. They are part of the family, held close, sheltered, honored, and passed down like sacred heirlooms. They are placed in woven baskets, in clay pots, in quiet corners of the home, because we know that within those tiny vessels sleeps tomorrow and the generations to come.
Maize is a staple food in Kenya. And in Kenya we have traditional maize. What you've seen, yellow, indigo, all sorts of colors, black sometimes, blue. You still find it in traditional communities.
When you look at the smallholder farmer in Kenya, they grow in small pieces of land. And especially if you look at maize, there's cross-pollination that happens. Our farmers cannot afford to leave a buffer zone around their farm to avoid cross-pollination.
Food security is just, you have food. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know how it has been grown. But when you talk of food sovereignty, it's a right for me to grow my quality food, what I want to grow. I save my own seeds, not being told this is the seed that you are going to grow.
And yet, perhaps the most miraculous truth of all is that seeds do not return just what we give. They return more. In response to love, they offer abundance. In answer to care, they burst into generosity. From a single gesture, they multiply life again and again and again. Such is the nature of a seed. It remembers, it responds, it rewards. The way of seeds is the way of life. But seeds cannot flourish without the care and love from the community. Why? Nature thrives when communities thrive. Ubuntu in this instance becomes a very communal system that we all must return to if we want to save and also multiply our seeds for posterity. We must share them, protect them, eat them, and also teach our children to do the same. True agricultural practices did not begin with toxic agrochemicals and lifeless GMO seeds. They started with knowing and understanding local indigenous cultures and the way those cultures guide and protect the people of the community. One of the most basic cultures in Africa's agricultural system is the indigenous ways of saving and preserving seeds. While modern-day agriculture preserves seeds with chemicals that kill pests, which in turn can cause harm to humans who eat the food, indigenous cultures state that you can preserve your seeds without killing the pest or doing damage to the natural environment and biodiversity.
This is the story of Kenyan farmers who are upholding traditional seed preservation methods used by over 30 ethnic tribes in Kenya. These are tried and tested practices that have continued to protect indigenous seeds through locally available materials. In Kakamega County, this farmer has been using various methods.
Una preserve mbegu ikae so that usishinde ukienda sokoni kununua mbegu every season. Unaenda kwa mti ya popo, unatoa hii, unaikausha vizuri, unakuja unaichoma. They are easy materials to get. Nitaenda tu hapo kwa nini ya ng'ombe, nitoe samadi, nitengeneze. I'm 100% sure kwamba hii mbegu nikipanda itamea. Na kama haitamea nitafuatilia nijue ni kwa nini haijamea.
For this farmer in Vihiga County, fine dust from locally made bricks works wonders.
Unachukua brick ambayo imeiva vizuri kabisa, unaibonda, unaishaga mpaka ikue laini kaa unga. Ikishakuwa laini kaa unga, so unaweza changanya na mbegu zako na ukaweka. Hata ikimaliza miaka 10, mbegu zako ziko safe.
Also in Vihiga, Tithonia diversifolia goes a long way in protecting local maize varieties from pests.
Huwa nachukua hii Tithonia leaves na katakata na igonga na iweka ndani ya maji for some minutes ili ile maji ishike ikue kong kabisa. Alafu nachukua mbegu zangu naosha nayo kabisa, naiosha, ninarudi naichukua naanika kwa gunia. Hii local preservation yangu inachukua more than 5 years. Hauwezi pata imekuliwa.
Diatomite ash from the salty Lake Elementaita in Gilgil, Nakuru has also proven helpful for farmers.
Unakuja unaipiga, alafu sasa hiyo mawe unaanza kuicrush ndio iwe unga. Kichanganya kwa mbegu inakaa karibu hata miaka 5 kwa sababu hiyo jivu inazuia wadudu kuja kudunga hiyo mbegu.
Smoking over the fireplace remains one of the most preferred seed preservation methods for farmers across the country.
Mimi kama mama sasa mwenyewe mimi najiwekea mbegu, mimi siulize msee mbegu. Kazi yangu tu ni kuuliza analimia shamba.
Having healthy seeds at their convenience helps these farmers to plant on time when the rains come.
Hey, hidariria mundu wigite mbegu cia kwitara ndugiekaga tondu riria mbura ikurare kiura unakorwo ni utuko muthenya ungi mundu athiaga mugunda akambia guita mbegu ciake.
The war against Africa's indigenous seeds through the introduction of GMOs cannot be fought by individuals alone. It must be fought and won by the local communities who understand that the way of seeds is the way of life. Last year, we reached out to the Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity when we saw their Facebook post about the Zambian Traditional Seeds and Food Festival. They shared this video with us.
Pelam Zambia is one of the NGOs which is part of the consortium that is organizing the Zambian Traditional Food and Seed Festival. This is our 7th year of doing this festival. And the idea behind the festival really is to promote the use of the local seeds by farmers. And this is basically to build resilience amongst farmers and also to diversify their production for food and nutrition security purposes. So the festival brings together different farmers from across the country who come and show the different crops that they have that are not found on the market as certified seed, but farmers are using in their different districts across the country. So the idea of the festival really is not just about to showcase the seeds, but we want this festival to also be something that can influence the change of policy to promote the production of foods that are produced from the local seeds.
Seeds hold a very important position, emphasizing that seed keeping must be passed through generations, and the respect for seeds and seed keeping in our traditional beliefs holds us to the responsibility of being the custodians of the earth, responsible for preserving the seeds that have been bestowed on us.
The Seed and Food Festival tells us about our traditions, our cultural practices from a long time ago. And I believe myself in the hierarchy of the family, generations from generation to generation. So this festival provides a platform for young people to learn what raised their great-great-great-parents. Myself, for example, in my family, I'm in the 3rd generation. But when I look at the seeds that I see here, my grandmother has been showing me. Now I'm learning, I've got grandchildren as well. So I'm passing that knowledge on to my grandchildren, and I believe that they will also pass it on. But most importantly, I just want to emphasize the fact that our local seeds, the traditional indigenous foodstuffs, they are very healthy. Some of them are actually medicinal. We are struggling a lot with certain diseases like blood pressure, sugar, which is diabetes, and several others. These things, if you follow the traditional foodstuffs in our land, you find that some of them can be dealt with. My grandmother was telling me about sunda. It's bitter, but when you eat it, it reduces your blood pressure. So I think it's very important, and I can encourage families out there, when such events are taking place, they must come, bring their children, explain things to them. There are a lot of seeds. I have seen a lot of indigenous seeds that I had never seen before. So this is an opportunity, and I just want to say that I want to commend the organizers. It is very important that we maintain our tradition, we keep on passing on the knowledge, and we use the benefits of such seeds.
We are here to encourage all the farmers to adopt these, seed, traditional seeds. Not only adopting them, but growing them in bulk, so that even the advantage which is there is that we have plenty of them, a variety of them, but we grow we plant in smaller quantities. So our encouragement to all the farmers is to plant in large quantities, so that even at the point of harvesting, you have a bulk of it, and then you are able to share, locally with our neighbors.
Look at this year, Zambia has faced a serious drought. Over 50% of our crop, especially maize, we have experienced over 50% crop failure in maize. And so it's important that we encourage people to use these other drought-resistant crops such as sorghum and millet. The crop failure is less, and also we encourage food security in the different households when you grow different kinds of staples as opposed to only focusing on one staple.
We have 288 chiefdoms in the country. How about Zari establishing a demo plot at each palace for traditional foods, traditional seeds? Because we receive a lot of guests, a lot of people, and we are the custodians of culture. If we are the custodians of culture, then let us promote this good culture by investing and practicing the growing of what? These traditional seeds. That is part of culture. So, start with me, okay? Bring the seeds, bring whatever it takes, then we shall give you a plot at the palace, and we shall do the management ourselves.
So what we are doing here, where now farmers are coming open to say no to the GMO food, no to this seed, whereby when they grow it is full of diseases and so forth. To us, the hybrid seed, with us we are very, very happy. And our prayer is for the Zambian people to continue pressing, you see, to continue eating the right food.
For Pelam Zambia, we've been working with smallholder farmers in rural parts of the country and peri-urban areas. And we know that farmers have got a challenge in terms of a platform for interaction. I think the Seed and Food Festival comes at the right time when farmers need to be communicating with each other, when farmers need to be meeting regularly and sharing their success stories, sharing their challenges. Because through the interactions, they are going to find a solution. And so This is the 7th year that we are holding the Zambian Traditional Seed and Food Festival. And this is the only way we are going to be able to mitigate the impacts of climate change. This is the only way we are going to adapt to be able to grow our food in a changing climate.
The House of Chiefs commits to support progressive initiatives such as this one and shall encourage our people to promote the use of traditional seeds and foods. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge all the participants to take time and go around the stands and appreciate what our people have displayed. If there is something to sell there, let us buy. If there are seeds, let us promote those people who have brought the seeds.
If we lose our indigenous seeds, we lose the rhythm of life itself. We lose the sacred cycle that makes us who we are, because nothing begins without a seed. The seed is not just the start of a harvest, it is the start of identity, the beginning of freedom, the pulse of African life. And here lies the truth, plain and powerful. He who controls the seeds controls the food, and he who controls the food controls the people. So, if the hands that hold our seeds are foreign, if our soil answers to the voice of multinationals, if our farmers must beg to plant, and our children must depend on foreigners to eat, then no bullet needs to be fired in Africa, no war needs to be declared, because the conquest is already complete. The chains are already fastened, not around our necks, but around the roots that feed us. But still, the seed remembers, it waits, it hopes, and we also must remember that seeds are the bearers of the future, even though they connect us back to the past.
Right now, there is a war being waged against African farmers. Powerful multinational companies that run the global seed industry are trying to take away farmers' seed sovereignty. Africa is touted as the last frontier in the global economy for its natural resources and untapped markets, and this has brought new actors into African agriculture. Some of them include philanthropic organizations such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. International investors are being invited to exploit these resources in the name of development. But really, it's just opening doors to multinational companies for them to find new markets for their products, to be able to take Africa's resources, and also to change our laws in the interest of business.
The seed is the very beginning of the agricultural value chain. Without seed, how can you produce anything? But if they control the seed, they control what crops will be planted, under what circumstances. If we lose the right to seed, then we lose the right to our food sovereignty, and then we lose everything. And I don't even think that people out there realize just what control these companies have over policy making. They write the laws. Our governments just rubber stamp GM applications.
How these people were curing themselves, how these people were feeding themselves before even the Europeans come over. We were not dying of hunger, but today we can die of hunger. Farmers in the villages were living great, choosing their own seed, choosing what to grow, when to grow, and how to grow it. They were making their own compost, and we're losing all that. Because of just big industries coming over, running over us. And this needs to stop. What's going to happen if we lose all this? We're just going to be depending on somebody else or someone else or another country. I can show you some of the seeds we get from European countries. Some of them even are not adaptable to our soils here. We lose even some of our foods, the indigenous foods, and turning ourselves to many products from overseas. Considering the demography of Senegal, and I think we're going to be running big troubles in the near future, because we do not control basically the seeds we need to to grow, to provide food for the country.
The argument they use is that Africa has a burgeoning population. So every single piece of material you read, they talk about how many Africans there are. And we have to feed all these hungry people. But they don't talk about the fact that 90% of the seed used in Africa is in the hands of small-scale farmers. And 70% of the food consumed on the continent comes from the fields of small-scale farmers. And the commercial farming sector mainly produce maize and soya beans to ship around the world to feed the animal feed industry.
The narrative that we're becoming this astronomical number of people competing for a shrinking food source is actually an industry narrative. It came from certain circles who were in the business of making money with selling food, you know, from a certain way of producing food.
The message, I mean, of course, globally and also on the African continent, is that we need to industrialize. You need to, you know, convert your old subsistence model, convert your old, you know, antiquated systems of farming, and adopt these new, highly technological, input-dependent methods of agriculture in order to produce enough food to feed the world. Well, we know that this is a lie, because we are already overproducing in terms of food globally. Per capita, we are producing more than is required for every person to live. It's a matter of distribution. It's a matter of the poor quality of the food that we produce, etc., etc. So yeah, but the lie is being spread that small-scale farmers across the African continent are not producing enough food. It's not true.
This is a crucial moment in our history as Africans, and we really should be aware of it and be fighting for our food sovereignty and control and rights over our seeds. The battle is not lost yet, but if we were to lose this fight against these multinational corporations that are trying to take our seed, the result of that would be devastating in terms of our food access, our diversity in our fields, in our forests, in our communities. All of this would slowly disappear. We need to be fighting against these corporations that are trying to impose a system that we don't want. This industrial agricultural system does not serve us, it does not serve the earth, and it marginalizes the people who grow the food we eat.
There is hope, because we've been here for so long, we are still here. You know, we have faced so many struggles as a people in this country, and we are still here. The so-called informal, the small, the forgotten, the plants that have been forgotten, the people that have been forgotten. For me, this is the stone that holds the whole thing together. Therein for me lies our hope, the seed that we need to protect, the small-scale farmer, the old grandmother, the old grandfather who is not recognized, who is not celebrated by anybody. That's the person we need to go to, because therein lies wisdom, knowledge, dignity, and our future depends on that.